Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show, Red Pill Edition. My name is Leon Jones. During this segment, we'll talk about the holiday blues. So the title of this video is Welcome to the Holiday Blues. Now, the reason why I'm calling it the holiday blues is because we've had some bad news during the holidays. Now, when I talk about the holidays, I'm basically be going between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day. These are the holidays where individuals are supposed to be with somebody or be with family members. Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. Now, I'm going to see if I can share the sound of a video, and I apologize for that I couldn't do it in the previous video that I did about the murder-suicide that took place in Indiana. But I'm gonna try to show it on this video, and then I'm gonna get into a mother, I believe she locked her daughter in the freezer, the dad. We got all kinds of news, so bear with me. Let me share my screen and let's get to it. First of all, I want to share this with you. Is talk about the Indiana shooting. So fair use. Let's go.
At Baird Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, we want to make sure you get the vehicle you want at a price that you can afford. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, now is the time to custom order your new car, truck, or SUV. Choose from a variety of trim levels.
Take you back out now to the scene of that breaking news on West Cook Road. 4 people dead there in a house. Tyler Brummett is there near the house. Tyler, can you show us what you're seeing out there right now?
Yeah, well, Brian, we're still a ways away from the scene, but if you look right back over there, you can still see a lot of flashing lights, a lot of police activity. I can stress to you again, I have seen dozens of police cars out here. Again, the house is just back over this way. If we come back over this way, earlier, our crews, we were stationed just down over there at the intersection of West Cook and O'Day Roads. That is where we all met up. And when I was actually walking through over here, I saw police officers who were heavily armed. I want to go now to some video that we shot earlier tonight. You can see a lot of police cars as well as the house. Potentially, we might see that in this video here. But as you mentioned, 4 people are dead. There's no word yet what led up to this shooting. Investigators telling us there really is a lot of information that they don't know right now at this point. Now, we did talk with a neighbor earlier. He basically told us, hey, this is typically a quiet area. Obviously, we don't see something this big happen in any part really that often, but he says not even smaller crime, minor crime happening in the area. He says normally it is a very quiet area. So I know out here at the scene, if we can come back live now and just take a look again, a lot of police cars out here. We've got EMS out here on scene. We've seen officials with the Fort Wayne Police Department as well as the Allen County Sheriff's Department. We've also seen Indiana State Police out here. So again, we will continue to keep you updated throughout the night right here on ABC 21 News tomorrow morning as well, and online at WPTA21.com. For now, though, reporting live, Tyler Brummett, ABC 21 News. Brian.
Tyler, you mentioned the heavily armed police. When they first arrived, they didn't know what they were dealing with. They didn't know if the shooter was still there or something else had happened.
Right.
So they're still working to understand that. I know that. But they did tell us, we heard from the Sheriff's Department a short time ago, there is no threat, they believe, to the public at this point in time. Important to communicate. Tyler, we know we'll hear from you again if the situation warrants. Thank you, sir.
Again, this was the scene of the murder-suicide that took place in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It didn't make national news, but locally, this is the information that we need to get out. Now, again, I'm going to speculate that there were some depression issues. Depression is a very easy mental health issue to actually solve or take care of. But you have to let people know that you're feeling depression. Now, let me present something else to you. Now, this is from Worcester County, Massachusetts, and this is a week old. Dad pleads guilty to manslaughter after wife allegedly beats daughter to death. Again, Worcester, Massachusetts, a 42-year-old man was sentenced to 8 years in prison Thursday following a guilty plea in Superior Court. Now, the Telegram and Gazette reports Maven Brito pleaded guilty to manslaughter in relation to his daughter's beating death that occurred April 10th of 2018. Now, according to the Worcester County District Attorney's Office, Brito was initially charged with 2 counts of reckless endangerment of a child and 2 counts of permitting substantial injury to a child. Now, his wife, Shana Pedroso, was charged with 2 counts of assault and battery on a child and 2 counts of reckless endangerment of a child. Now, what I don't understand is if the mother killed the child, why wasn't she charged with manslaughter? Let's continue. The Telegram and Gazette reports a grand jury charged Pedroso with murder. Well, I stand corrected. Pedroso was charged with murder, and Brito was charged with manslaughter in September of 2018. Now, their 9-year-old son reportedly survived the beatings and was adopted by a family member. Now, WBZ TV reports Brito and Pedrosa superglued one of their son's wounds and told him not to call 911. Now, according to the Telegram and Gazette, a prosecutor said in court Thursday that Pedrosa would allegedly send Brito to the basement while she beat the children. Brito allegedly Brito allegedly had to ask his wife permission to leave the basement as well as to shower or use the restroom. Special prosecutor John Melander Jr. said in court there were extremely disturbing photos of the children's injuries. Now, again, I'm just going to say this. These are individuals who shouldn't have children. And we have a number of individuals who are not fit to be parents. This is why I say, men and women, you need to stop being reckless with sex, because most of you aren't even in a position to raise children because you can't take care of yourselves and you're not stable psychologically. Now, let's move on. He said it looks as if they were painted in purple from their shoulders to their knees. Pedrosa was reportedly found hiding in the woods with a journal that allegedly described how she beat her children. Again, on April 10th, 2018, Brito reportedly called the police to say his daughter was not breathing. So according to Worcester County DA's office, the daughter was taken to UMass Memorial Health Alliance, where she was pronounced dead. The son was reported to have serious injuries. Now, the Telegram and Gazette reports the girl died from blunt force trauma and her death was ruled a homicide. So Melander said Brito listened to his children continually beaten by his wife, their mother, for 4 years and did nothing to extricate his children. So according to the Telegram and Gazette, Brito will serve 3 years of probation after his prison sentence, and he will not be allowed to have unsupervised contact with anyone under 18, and that includes his son. So Pedroso is awaiting trial for murder charges. Now, again, I still don't understand why the father was convicted of manslaughter. What was his part in it? Because he didn't say anything? Because if it happened the other way, the father would have gone to jail for a long time. Now, I don't know how long the mother's going to get, because one thing that women can do when it comes to murder, whether it's vehicular manslaughter or vehicular homicide or any type of homicide, they can plead insanity. Look what Andrea Yates did. And this is why I say the system, the criminal justice system, is corrupt. And as a man, you need to know the laws. You need to know who you are dealing with when you produce children. Because at the end of the day, the husband is tied to this murder of their daughter. Now, again, let's flip it around. Would the wife be tied to the murder of the daughter if the husband did it? Because when a husband is molesting children, even if the wife knows about it, nothing happens to the wife. So until we get the laws changed, men, you got to be very careful of what you do, because you have the child support or family court system. That's not fair. The criminal justice system is not fair. Now, let's move on to our third case here. This takes place, excuse the commercial here. This takes place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Woman pleads guilty to locking son in cold garage. 8-year-old died. Now, again, these are relatively recent cases. And by the way, look at this drag. Look at what she looks like. Look at her. It's a Black woman. So I'm going to go ahead and say this after I read the article. Minneapolis, Minnesota. A Brooklyn Park woman has entered a guilty plea to manslaughter charges in the death of her 8-year-old son. 39-year-old Tasha Tenen was accused of locking the boy in a cold garage overnight 3 years ago. The temperature was below zero and the child died. A few months later, the victim's brothers and sisters told a foster parent he had gotten into trouble with his mother and she ordered him to sit in the cold garage as punishment. They said she locked the door and left him there all night. Tenen will be sentenced in March. Now, again, here's another case. And the question I have to ask is the criminal justice system this slow? I mean, a case that took place 3 years ago. Now the rest of her children are with foster parents. And I'm just going to give you my opinion. I always hear the feminists talk about castrating men. What about doing the same thing to women? I'm not going to say castration, but having them get their tubes tied. Now, that woman wasn't capable of raising children. And the question is, where was the father? Nobody knows. Now, did she have some issues? And going back to the previous case, did Brito and Pedroso, did they have any mental issues? And these news stories are going to continue to take place if we don't do something about the system. Mental health, criminal justice, family court. Now, it's funny how America is supposed to be the freest country, but America has one of the highest crime rates. America, Canada, the UK, and Australia. And these are developed countries. And one thing I see that's very common with these four countries is, although they're well-developed countries, at the end of the day, here is the problem that nobody's looking at. You have a lot of unstable families. You have the liberal mindset of, we're talking about everything else besides people's mental health, besides family stability, education. Now, again, I already know right now the criminal justice system, the family court system isn't fair. I do understand that these parents, they probably had some mental issues, or they were not ready to raise children. I'm going to say the latter. Neither of them were ready to raise children. Now, again, that video that I did regarding the quadruple murder suicide that happened in Indiana, you should be able to hear the sound in this one. So regarding these newscasts, I'm just going to say this. I will be bringing you more, but I want you all to know what's happening out there. Because if you don't think it's happening in your backyard, stay tuned. It's coming to a theater near you. Welcome to the Holiday Blues. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you're looking for some educational content, check out my Mind of STEM videos. And on that channel, you're going to get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and of course, math. Now, if you cannot find me on YouTube, you can always check me out on Twitter, LinkedIn, MeWe, and Parler. Now, let me go over that again. You can find the 401 Talk Zone radio show. If you can't find me on YouTube, on Twitter, MeWe, and Parler. And you can find my Mind of STEM channel on Twitter. And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to leave you with this. Be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Always know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And again, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you don't like the shoe, change it. And I want you all to tell me what you think about these newscasts that I put right here on a 411 Talk Zone radio show. And once again, thank you for listening to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. I want you all to have a wonderful and gracious day. God bless you. I'm out.